Bitch, do I have some tea for you, okay? Sit down, grab popcorn, whatever you need to do, because I have a very lengthy story time. If you've been here for a while, you've probably seen these videos. If not, go watch them. You could just type in Hannah Sophia drunk elephant, it'll come up. Basically, to sum it up, I had hella beef with my college apartment complex, and I've been waiting to drop this story, and now that I don't live there anymore, it's getting spilled. It's getting spilled. I lived in the same apartment complex from sophomore to senior year because freshman year I lived in the dorm, and let's just say that I beefed with them basically all 3 years, and this was just like the most honorable mention of what they did. I started doing TikTok my junior year, and I slowly started to get some PR, and I finally made it onto the drunk elephant PR list, and I think this was like one of the biggest moments of my career. I was flipping out. I was probably screaming. We had a system where if a package came in, I got a notification on my phone. Then I would go downstairs and scan that notification in order to access my package. But then next to them, we also had mailboxes. So like I just wanted to check my mailbox one last time before going on spring break senior year. Go downstairs, open my mailbox. I see a tiny little package and I'm like, okay, it's so small. I'm just going to open it down here. There were like trash cans and stuff where you could do that. I'm doing it and I'm looking down at the trash can to throw my package away and I see a box with my name on it. Like the shipping label said my name and it was packaged from Drunk Elephant. Obviously, I had no idea that this package even came in because it was not scanned into my app. So that's like the first little suspicious thing. My shocked little self, I pull the box out of the trash can and take it back up to my room because there was no one at the front desk. It was a Sunday. I take it down there, I show her the box, tell her what happened, and she's like honestly not that shocked. She takes down my information and she also asks me for the box. I'm like, okay, weird, but I give it to her. I then leave that day to go to New Orleans because I was boarding my cruise for spring break out of there. Next morning, I call again and I'm like, do you guys have any update on this? Because I knew they could probably check the cameras. There's cameras. At this point, I'm like just spam calling them until they answer because I knew I was gonna be on a boat for a week with no service. So I was like, we need to sort this out now. I then get an email saying that my package was restored. The girl who stole it brought it back and then put it back in the box and they put it back in my locker. Weird. When I get back from the cruise, I go back downstairs and I'm like, is there anything else you guys can do? Do you guys know who did it? Like, is there any more information you can give me? Because I didn't know how long this had been going on because if I didn't look down into that trash can, I wouldn't have even known about this. And they say they know who it was, but they cannot tell me because I might retaliate against them because there was like another student. By the way, same lady I had been talking to that works there the whole time. To her face, I said, thank you, have a nice day. But I said, if you're not going to tell me, you're going to tell the fucking police. Okay, so I file a police report against my building. Same day, the cops show up and he meets me in the lobby of my building because I had class to leave for. So it was like a quick little, tell me what's going on, file the report, whatever. After I tell him everything, all the details, he's like, okay, wait here for a second if you can. Before you go to class, I'm going to go talk to the people who work here about it. He goes up to the same lady. And then he's like, okay, Hannah, like they're looking for the security footage to see who it was. And I'm like, to my understanding, they already know who it is. They've already located this footage is what they told me. But now it's taking forever for them to look up this footage and now they can't find it. And I had to leave for class. So I call the cops again the next day. I'm like, hey, is there any update? Were they able to find it? And he's like, no, I gave them my phone number and they're gonna get back to me when they're able to locate it. But you already located it, so what the fuck? After that, I sit down, I look up this woman on the internet. I find her LinkedIn, I find everything about her. I kid you not, this woman started being so nice to me. She started sorting my packages to a corner in the room, scanning all of them in very meticulously, notifying me when I was walking to class, oh, Hannah, you have a package today. And looking back, the reason I'm almost 99% sure it was her was because I went on a cruise for spring break, meaning I left really late. Usually on college spring break, people leave literally after their last class of the day on Friday the week before. The building was almost eerily quiet. I went to the gym that weekend, didn't see a single soul. Walked to get Chick-fil-A, didn't see a single soul. So what student was there that weekend that could have walked downstairs to return my package? And also said they took it on accident. So why'd you open all the contents inside, knowing it wasn't yours? But to be so real, I'm not even mad about like losing what was in the box. I'm very grateful that it was even sent to me in the first place. It was just the fact that this bitch lied to me for like a fucking week. And why am I paying thousands of dollars to live in a building where you're hiring liars and mail fraud committers to work at your front fucking desk? Not to mention, I literally had a hole in my ceiling for a year living there and they never fixed it. Anyways, mysterious front desk lady. Lying is a sin, stealing is a sin, and hell is hot. So, enjoy. But basically, that is the story of what ended up happening with my package. And for everyone who told me to call the cops, I did call the cops. And there is a report that was filed. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. If you want to hear more about my ceiling hole, let me know. But yeah, love you. Have a good day.
Get ready with me while I tell you about a family secret my grandma took to her grave and my family found out years later. Y'all are going to want to stay tuned because this story is actually insane. Okay, so it first starts off way before I was born when my grandpa died. And when he was on his deathbed, my family asked if there was any information that like he was hiding, and he said, "Not from me, but I don't know about your mother." And that was him telling that to his children. So that was my mom, and he was talking about my grandmother. So I don't really know what happened after that, but I guess they never found out that information. So when I was around 5, my grandma ended up passing away. And I think that what my grandpa said kind of just like passed over everyone's heads, and no one really thought much about it. So then a few years later, I think I was around 13, my aunt ended up signing up for Ancestry, and nothing really came up from it because she already pretty much knew everyone that we were related to until a few years later. So then one day my mom gets a call from her sister, and my mom is the youngest of 4, so my grandma already had 4 kids. But anyways, my aunt calls my mom one day and she's like, "I just got a match from Ancestry for someone that could be our sister." And so my mom's kind of just sitting here like, "What? Like, we don't have another sister? Like, what?" So then they're trying to figure out if it's from my grandpa or from her mom. Like, obviously my grandpa had an affair and got another woman pregnant, and so they have like a half sibling now. So this was already like crazy news to me, and I was like, what? Like, I have an aunt that I never knew about? Like, that's crazy. Little did we know that this was actually my grandma's child. And so we're trying to like map it out, and she's a lot older than my siblings, so we're like, this was before her marriage. It wasn't just before her marriage. She had this kid in high school. So I guess my grandma got pregnant in high school. I don't know how this was kept a huge secret, but when you get pregnant in high school, like, it's a big deal. So she got pregnant in high school and just didn't tell anyone about it, had the baby, and gave it up for adoption. And my half aunt didn't know she was adopted until she was 45. So her parents basically lied to her whole life, which that's what she says. Which I think is crazy, because imagine being told you're adopted when you're 45 years old. Like, what? So I'm already like jaw dropped about this whole situation. I'm telling all my friends, I'm like, guys, like, I literally have like a half aunt. Like, what the heck? Like, this is crazy. And everyone around me is like, that doesn't just happen. So obviously I was like, whoa, crazy family lore right here, you know? And like a huge part of this was like crazy, because we were like, how did my grandma hide this from her kids, her husband? I mean, maybe he knew, but we were just kind of like, why did she not tell literally anyone, especially when she was like dying? Because she had cancer and she knew she was dying, but she still like kept it to herself. So everyone was just kind of like confused. So yeah, anyways, we end up meeting her, and she's super nice. We have a huge like family get together, and it's just still kind of like crazy to us, because it's like my mom literally had a half sibling her whole life and no one ever knew. And then like 3 years later, something even crazier happens, but you guys are gonna have to go to part 2 because I'm running out of time.
Get ready with me for the gym while I tell you what the hell happened at the party I went to the other day. Let me just tell you, it didn't even last 2 seconds. No one even got let in. Just a little recap, it got postponed again, canceled, uncanceled, fireworks being thrown that I thought was tear gas by the police, a line of Karens standing there like grandmas in their bathrobes, and this happened like twice, like 2 parties, but nothing happened and you're just standing there the whole night. Now I'm sorry in advance for shading the people who organized this, but like, I never go out. And one of the guys who organized it convinced me to go and said this was gonna be like Project X, but I had nothing else to do on a Saturday night, so I was like, fine, me and my people finna show up. Story's getting so good, I damn near forgot to get ready. When I tell y'all, we pulled up, sat in the car, didn't even get out because it was like a shit show outside, sat in traffic, waited for the next address to drop, parked a mile away from the next house. By the time we walked there in 30-degree weather, bro, people stormed inside the backyard. I'm not even kidding you, 30 seconds later, the crowd of hundreds of people is getting pushed out by people with tasers. We're standing in the driveway. Guess who pulls in? The mom. Now, I don't know if any of these people got in trouble, but she pulled it smack dead in the middle of the crowd, got out, and everyone can tell that's their mom because there is no other reason a 40-year-old woman should be here. And everyone was like, oh, sorry, ma'am, have a good night, yeah, we out. And that was literally my night. Now, I'm not super mad because I still went out and like managed to have a fun night, but But I still wasted a really cute outfit. And girls know once you wear it once, like, it sucks to rewear it. And then my friend in question who organized the party was like, sorry guys, it was poor planning. Bro, y'all posted the address at 8 a.m. that day. Of course, the neighbors, their moms, and their pets will know about this freaking party. And if you live in the state of Arizona, I'm telling you, you definitely heard of it. It was in Glendale. But it was bound to shut down. Now he's texting me talking about some next weekend. No! I said yes once. I went out one weekend, and now you're talking about, no, we got more parties next weekend. No, I'm gonna be in bed. Anyway, that's really the update. I don't know why my skin is so inflamed all of a sudden. But anyways, I gotta go to the gym. Bye.
My best friend of 5 years just stabbed me in the back and got with my ex. And she thought I wouldn't find out, but I did. So let's do a story time. Her and I have been best friends off and on. I say off and on because she's always done things that just don't add up. But for these past 2 years, we've been solid. Like, I see her almost every single day, and when we don't see each other, we're always FaceTiming. This just happened, so I'm still freaking out. When I was with my ex, she would always insist on us three hanging out. Like, me and her couldn't hang out alone anymore. She'd always want him to come. And her excuse was, oh, because I want to get to know him and I need to make sure I like who you're with. After the first day that she actually met him, I forgot about this. She went and followed his Instagram, and she didn't even tell me that she was going to follow my boyfriend at the time. Like, she just went ahead and followed him. But why did she only like one picture? A picture of him from 2 years ago. Just of him. So I screenshotted it and sent it to her and just asked her, hey, like, why? Her excuse was, oh my gosh, I was stalking his page late last night to make sure like there was no girls. I was just trying to be a good friend to you, and I must have accidentally liked his selfie. I'm little delusional over here, and I believed her because she was my best friend. Oh, trust me, it's about to get way worse. I would always go to my job at a certain time. Like, my schedule has always been the same since I started there, and my boyfriend at the time would always bring me lunch. He told me he was craving Chipotle and he was gonna bring me Chipotle. He would always show up at the exact time I'd clock out for my lunch, but for some reason that day he was running a little late, and this is where I put pieces together. Him and I would share locations with each other, so I was easily just able to see where he was, but I also shared my locations with my best friend. It was at the same Chipotle that he was going to. So instead of watching his location, I just started watching hers. I saw her location slowly start moving towards my job. So I thought, delusional again, that they're coming to surprise me. Like, he came with her to surprise me. Until I saw her location stop down the street from my job. When my boyfriend showed up without her, I asked him, what were you guys doing together? I know you guys were together. He told me he had no idea what I was talking about and he had not seen her. So he denied it, so I went and asked her. And her story, same thing. I was not with him. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a coincidence. She claimed that she didn't want to be in our drama and she's just going to turn her locations off permanently with me. I'm not even going to talk about him and I, but just know that we split on bad terms. But of course, when we split up, my best friend was so there for me, so supportive, and was telling me how he was trash and I didn't deserve him, and she knew all along. So how did I figure out that they've been secretly like with each other? Her and I had plans for that, and she told me that she had to cancel because her family's beach house was going to be open and no one was Airbnb-ing it. And she said that they were going to go. Normally, when she'd go to her beach house though, I'd always get invited. And this time she insisted that it's just strictly family. So I decided I'll just take myself to Target and have like a self-care pampering night. And when I was at Target, I heard my name being called from somebody behind me. It was her mom and little brother. Then she asked me, wait, why aren't you at the beach house with my best friend? Then I flipped a Uno reverse. Well, why aren't you at the beach house with my best friend? When I tell you guys how bad my stomach dropped, then her mom says, well, I know she's there because the Ring doorbell keeps like sending me notifications. When you get a gut feeling, you just know. So I asked her, pull that up right now. And sure enough, there they were. My heart is like absolutely shattered by both of them, but just mainly because my best friend could do something like that, and I just feel like actually no, that story was from Reddit, and I would definitely invite that girl to Big Hearts Only Club, which is an all-girl group here in Southern California that gets together to make genuine friendships within women. For any girl who's struggling to make genuine friendships or just finds themselves feeling like their friends could be wishy-washy on a dime, that is why I created Big Hearts Only Club, for the girls and the girls only who support one another, encourage, and uplift, and aren't like that girl, and are not like that girl. Big Hearts Only Club on Instagram. I'm gonna go read more Reddit stories.
Okay, get ready with me while I tell the story on how Sophia LaCourte stole my boyfriend. Okay, just bear with me because there's so many little this is not supposed to be my face. There's so many little parts and I am really, really bad at storytelling, so this could go long or like I could miss details. Like there's just, bear with me. So there are some key points that I feel like I should point out first. Oh no. One is going to be, I was in high school. I'm 23 now. I can't sit here and say that I think about this daily, that it is something that stops me from sleeping. I genuinely posted this because of the fact that it's just funny that this literally happened to me. A little different scenario, but when it happened to me, I was not the victim, unfortunately. One main question is, did you go to high school together? No, we didn't. You didn't have to go to high school together to know people, though, in our area. New Jersey is very small, and Monmouth County, everybody knows everybody. And if you live here, you know that. Like, were we friends? No. Literally, we probably knew of each other. I know that she definitely knew that my boyfriend, the boy that she was going for at the time, had a girlfriend. That's a definite for sure. She hung around a lot of my high school's friend groups. So she was a wrestling book girl and he was a wrestler. I was the wrestling girlfriend. I was at every single event of his wrestling matches. You can't say that you didn't know he had a girlfriend, that is for sure. Especially if you did stalking, I was posted. Now, there's where the boy went wrong, is that he did cheat on me a lot. So is this expected on his side? Abso-freaking-lutely. Was I dumb for staying? Like, yes, we all know that. I was literally 16, 17, 18, so on. We did date for 4 years. Besides the freaking point. On St. Patty's Day, my high school and every other high school in Monmouth County, like I said, and even other counties, went to St. Patty's Day parade in New York. We all would skip school. It was something I was genuinely so excited for until I got a beautiful, bright, early good morning text from my boyfriend saying, I'm breaking up with you. 5 minutes into my devastating breakup that I thought we were both grieving over, I see a Snapchat from one of my friends of my boyfriend at the time's story. Now, I understand, like, gingers and St. Patty's Day go like this together. Sorry for anyone that's a ginger that I offend. Anyway, but I didn't know that meant, like, go get yourself one on St. Patty's Day. Because I see my current boyfriend and Sophia together in a pic, booed up, like they've been dating for years. I then am in shambles because there's one thing to break up. It's another now to go see your boyfriend that you just spent 3 years with another girl the same day after him breaking up with you. I DM her and I'm like, hey girly, you're with my boyfriend, basically. Like, it's not technically my boyfriend. He literally broke up with me today to hang out with you, like, just to let you know. I probably was a lot meaner in the text. I wasn't the sweetest girl in high school. Whatever, sue me. So my heart was in her DMs. Like, I poured everything I could into that DM to be like, please give me my boyfriend back. I'm freaking out. That she was out with that day that went to high school with me and knew about my relationship. So I don't think that she can sit there and say she didn't know. Also, the boyfriend at the time did tell me she did know, but all he had to do was break up with me. It goes on, I am crying throughout the day, I am a mess. But I see them in the train station. And I went up to her to try and have a talk with her and my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, I guess, in the moment. And she turned away from me and turned her back to me. I don't know if she knows what genuine feelings and emotions are, because then she proceeded to tell my boyfriend at the time she's crazy and I'm a mean girl. I'm gonna fast forward because after all of this drama kind of just like went down, eventually they stopped talking and she never answered my DM. So now let's skip forward to freaking like freshman year of college. We had broken up, me and this man, finally, whatever. I see that they were talking again. But this boy was always constantly hitting me up, saying he missed me, saying all this stuff. So as a nice girl who was getting over all of her sweet trauma with this boy,
DMs this girl again, Sophia, and is like, hey, just want to let you know, I do see you guys are talking, but he is still hitting me up. Like, we do still have a lot of baggage. I am just making you aware. I don't want any trouble. No answer. Rude. But okay, that's fine. You know what? You don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm glad we're finally on the same pages here. Now, COVID comes around. I start to get a little bit of TikTok followers. And by a little bit, I mean like 45K. Correct? Now, this is where it gets a little weird. And I'm sure enough, I'm going to get a lot of comments saying, she doesn't owe you anything. But just listen, I hope you're here. I'm on TikTok Live. And I get a message from Sophia on my TikTok Live saying, can we be best friends? Now, at this time, she had no TikTok followers at all. So it's just a little ironic to me that now I have a little bit of clout and you want to share again? And you couldn't answer my DM about me being genuinely brokenhearted, but you can set up on my TikTok and be like, can we be besties after getting with the same man? After stealing my boyfriend. You want to be best friends? No, that's not the way I work. I do not work like that. I don't want to be fake best friends. I don't want anybody in my friend group that I can't trust. I know I don't owe anybody anything, but if I have the knowledge of knowing that a boy was with somebody or treated a girl like shit, I just believe in like, you get them or you lose them the same way that you got them, which is exactly what happened in this case. I feel like it's dumb to say, but I genuinely don't wish like hate or anything on anybody. I do think that it was a really shitty scenario. We were young. Sometimes people are put in shitty scenarios. There's definitely two sides to every story. No one deserves any type of hate, but I'm just explaining my side of the story, how it happened to me. You know, I saw an open door and I walked in. Also, funny enough, when she got her like fame and her followers, she unfollowed me. So I guess you didn't really want to be besties, but that's okay. Me neither. She seems super gorgeous. She is probably super cool, just not my type of girl, and that's okay. Okay, so this is the final look. I'm going to a wedding, I don't know if I said that. But what I do want to say is I'm super happy with my current boyfriend, and life works in weird ways, so.
Get ready with me as I tell you all about my toxic ex. So to provide some context, my ex-boyfriend and I started dating at the beginning of year 12. We were both 17, we were together for about a year and a half, and I broke up with him just before I turned 19. And oh, that boy put me through my paces, let me tell you. Before we actually started dating, we were just like messaging back and forth. This was about a week before we made things official. He's telling me about why he likes me. And then out of nowhere, he just sends a message being like, yeah, so you know, that was the moment that I fell in love with you. Like, what? We weren't even officially dating. This boy was not my boyfriend. But when you are 17 and you like a boy and they say something like that to you, of course you get all flattered. So, I mean, at first I was a little freaked out, but then I was like, he said he's in love with me. No, ma'am, that is love bombing, because there was a lot of that in the first couple weeks and then it immediately dropped off. Like once he had me, he didn't have to try anymore. Now this boy was quite cruel with his words. He quite often did not think before he spoke, and the way he spoke to me is not a way that you should speak to someone that you claim to love. Now I've spoken about this before on here, but when I was in school, I had really bad acne, and around the age of 17 was kind of when it was at its worst. And it made me feel really, really insecure about myself. And I remember one day we're at his house and we're just watching a movie, and I'm having a particularly rough day with my skin. We're sitting there watching the movie and I'm kind of just touching my forehead like this, which I know is like the absolute number one thing you should not do when you have acne, but when you are so insecure about it, you're kind of just very focused on, it's just always there, like it's always on your mind. So I'm just sitting there, I'm kind of touching it, and I just kind of go, my acne makes me feel so ugly sometimes. And this boy has the audacity to say, yeah, well, it is ugly. For the remainder of the movie, I literally laid there and I kept my hand over my forehead because I didn't want him to see my acne. I was like, my boyfriend, this boy who I love and who claims to love me, thinks that my acne is ugly, so I must be ugly. One day, I remember it was a Sunday, and this is when I was working at Priceline. I didn't get my driver's license until after I left high school, whereas he had his driver's license and he had his own car. And on this particular day, my parents were not able to pick me up from work. And on Sundays, he would play baseball. At the Priceline I worked at, Sunday shifts only went for 3 hours, and when you work any less than 4 hours, you do not get a tea break, which meant that I did not have the opportunity to check my phone until after my shift. So I'm at work, I finish my shift, I get my stuff, I go to check my phone, and I just have this sinking feeling. I checked my phone and I had a text from him saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to pick you up from work. The team want me to play a second game that I'm going to hang back for." Immediately, I panicked because my parents are out. They're not able to come and get me. He was my only way home. I was calling him. I was texting him. He wasn't picking up my calls. He wasn't responding to my texts. I could not get through to him. And I didn't know what to do. I honestly did not know how I was going to get home. I call my mum, absolutely sobbing, crying on the phone, saying, he's ditched me, I don't know how to get home. Mum and dad were actually running late for their lunch that they had to be at. So what they did was that they turned around, came and picked me up and brought me home. I was crying in the car the entire way home. Mum was really trying to calm me down. After I'd calmed down a bit, I sent him a text about how that wasn't okay. He didn't really apologize. He just kind of like beat around the bush a little bit and was like, "Oh, well, what do you want me to do? Like, they wanted me for a second game." The next day he texted me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to go shopping?" And this was his way of apologizing. Like, this was his way of saying sorry without actually saying sorry. And at this time, this is when I firstly started making TikToks. And I remember one of my TikToks got like 10,000 views or something, and I was so excited about it. So we're driving home from the shops and I pull up my phone and I say, "Oh my God, babe, one of my TikToks got 10,000 views. And then he turns around and he goes, "You're making TikToks?" And then I immediately start getting like really like feeling like I'm backed up into a corner. And I'm like, "Yeah, but you know, I'm not like dancing or anything. Like, I'm just making tutorials. Like, I'm just talking about makeup and stuff." And then he was like, "Babe, I love you, but I do not respect you." And I was really upset with that. So double whammy, ditches me at work and then insults me to my face like that within less than 48 hours. So anyway, I was really, really disheartened by that, and I went home that day and I had deleted all the TikToks that I made, and I couldn't bring myself to make another one because every time I tried, I just had him in the back of my mind telling me that he no longer respected me. Fast forward a few months, his parents came over to my house to have dinner with us, and two of us were at a party, and my mum brought up that day and was like, "Oh, so what was this second game that he had to play?" And then his dad goes, "Oh, there was no second game. Everyone wanted to have drinks at the pub after." And when my mum told me that, I was so upset because not only did this boy again ditch me at work, but he lied to me as to why he ditched me at work. And I'm pretty sure my mum told me this when I was still with him, and I did nothing about it. Anyway, that is all I have for you right now. I know you guys have been absolutely loving my story times, so please let me know if you want a part 2 of this because, oh, trust me, I have so many more stories. And before we wrap this up, I just want to say, if you have someone in your life who is treating you like this, girl, you deserve better. If I can get out of it and if I can better myself, so can you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching. Bye.